Hello, David. So great to see you. How are you? Welcome,
Good
Journey. You know what? It's been a day for me. Greetings from
journey.
Toronto. Good to see you.
Greetings to you too. I love Toronto. Thank you for having me.
We know that we need to have you back here. When was the last time? It's been a while, I think.
Oh gosh, yeah, it's been a while. I did a play up there and I got murdered in the press for horrible performances.
Oh, not from me, my friend. No way. I'm a
No,
big
good,
fan.
good,
So,
good. No, it's all right. I don't take it personally. I learned a lot through the experience.
well, this is good. This is good. Learning a lot from your experiences is great. Well, I
Yeah.
want to know what you learned playing Rick. Boy, because what a douchebag, man. Honestly.
It was really funny to play. You know, it's interesting because you're on a set, and I'm personally very happy about being on a set and working with amazing actors and an incredible director and having a beautiful script to work from.
Yeah.
But my character in each one of these scenes didn't want to be there. He didn't want to be in any of these places he was. He'd rather be golfing or, you know,
Yeah.
at a bar or something. He doesn't want to deal with this kind of stuff. So it's a funny like dichotomy because you have to you lean into that, so then it just becomes like you look at your watch and you're just being like bored by people and annoyed. Like if I would find something funny on set, I would react in annoyance rather than go with it in my personal take. A lot of the time in my head I was flipping like, oh, that's hilarious, but I don't think that's hilarious.
Right.
That's
Well,
being
for
able to
sure,
think
because
like
it is
him.
such a stretch, David. Like we've never seen this from you, this type of character, which I love because you're challenging yourself with everything that you're getting, which is lovely to see. But this guy, there's just no redeeming quality about him at all. But I do have to say, okay, so there's that great scene that you have with Nick Jonas. We'll get to that in a second, where he's had it. His mom has died. You're the stepdad. You're just whatever. And then I'm thinking about it and I'm going, well, should I give this guy the benefit of the doubt because everybody grieves in their own way? Or am I just being too nice because it's you playing the role?
Well, what's really funny about that scene, and nobody really knows this except sort of me, but what was written in the scene was there's a limousine ride from the grave site to this gathering after the memorial service.
Yeah.
And my character was supposed to be in the limousine with everyone else. But Robert called me and he's like, listen, I don't think Rick could be in the limousine in this scene. It's just going to be the other family. I was like, cool. Because I didn't have to come in for a little while. And I was
Yeah.
like, I had some time off. But what he didn't know was Rick took that really personally. Rick was like, what? What do you mean? I'm not, I don't get to ride in the limousine that I paid for, that I set up, that I picked out. I've never really ridden in a limousine before. I was kind of looking forward to it. So that's what's going on in my head. So my anger toward him is more based on the fact that he didn't get to ride in the limousine than actual, because it's the sort of narcissistic take on stuff. Like I would
Yes.
always go to a narcissistic place. So even in things, there's something in later on where he tries to redeem himself in a way, but even that's just to try to like get people to think he's a nice guy rather than, and seeing like all this stuff laying around, and I can't have all this stuff in my house. What, I'm going to
Right.
take it to the Goodwill? I mean, I'll just drop it off at their house. It's actually closer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Right.
it's
Right. Yeah.
thoughts like that you have to start thinking like, which is such an interesting tool to exercise.
Well, it's funny too, because, look, I've been doing this a long time and I've had the great opportunity to talk to pretty much every single person in your family. And none of
Uh,
you are narcissists as far as I can. You take your job seriously, but you're good people, you're good actors, you know what you're doing, but you're not a-holes, like it was interesting to take on this character and like maybe base him on somebody, because there are a lot in Hollywood, let's face it, right?
there absolutely are. And it's interesting, as an actor, you have to have a high level of narcissism.
Of
You
course.
have to have this confidence about you. You have to like be willing to like, stand up for yourself and say certain things like, I don't know, you kind of it's this real interesting balance with narcissism in Hollywood. So, I mean, the sheer fact that we do this for a living, there's a narcissistic quality in a sense. I mean, once
Yeah,
you figure it out that it's not about the applause, but it's about uh providing a escape for people and some enjoyment and some kind of like
well, of
connection to
course.
their life or kind of some escape into humor, whatever it is.
Yeah,
That's where you then get it. But
yeah.
yeah, it's
Yeah, it's
pretty.
interesting. It's like I say, it's got to be fun to play something like this. And then you've got Robert Schwartzman directing you, who, again, coincidentally comes from a famous acting family, all that. But he's got the background of not just being, this director, an actor, amazing musician. So he's got that added, abilities. How did that help, do you think, for you as an actor to have him having been an actor and kind of knowing maybe what actors like?
Yeah, I mean, he created this set that was really kind of loose and like rehearsals, we'd have some level of improvisation and we'd kind of find some little moments in it. He'd do these fun things where so he'd like add something to the scene that we didn't know was in there and kind of elevated and even the way they shot it, like certain things that were really exciting. But he kept a really fun set and like loose set and
Yeah.
provided this environment where you're working with people you really love and respect, and you're working off a script that's really like heartfelt and taken from a true experience,
Yes.
which I think always kind of grounds stuff. And and then his like style and music and understanding of all that, and it's like you get into like a little bit of a flow state where you're just kind of like everything's kind of working, and you try to find these little beats and timing and just you can at that point like go off looks with people and you're having a whole private scenes like going on that's not even in the script, so it really was a fun time.
Are you now addicted to smoothie juice?
I don't. I think I accidentally called it a smoothie juice. He's like, "That's hilarious, smoothie juice." I was like, "Oh, I don't," because it was thinner than a smoothie. Because I think it might have been like. So I didn't. I don't know. Or
It's funny
he
though. It's
came up
it's
with it.
very
He's
rich.
the one who said
Yeah.
smooth. He said, "Yeah, call it a smooth." I was like, like I made up a word. I was like, oh, great. Like that
Hey,
kind of flow is exactly it.
you might have a new store that you could open there on Sunset Boulevard. Smooses or
Brick
something, right?
smooth. Yeah, exactly.
Smooses by Arquette. I like it.
Yeah.
When you're working opposite again, somebody like a Nick Jonas, who, he's a very good actor, he's a good guy. But again, his beginnings are music. Do you find that when you're working somebody like that, opposite somebody like that, he's maybe trying extra hard because he's working with all you veterans, or, what was it like to work, to have those scenes with Nick?
It was really cool. I was so impressed. I mean, he's been doing for so long, like what and just learning the way he has and come up in this business and have to deal with all of that as a
Yeah,
young person and then also as an adult and just kind of but I saw him and Brittany, and I think they may have known each other before because they had a really comfortable rapport. I think there's something when you work with people and you're comfortable with them or you're friends with them, you can
right,
share like an element of acting that's hard to replicate unless you are able to spend a lot of time with someone beforehand. So they had this really cool, and I just had sort of stepped back and seen their approach to a scene before I came in, and I just could hear their tone and how they were kind of bantering back and forth in
yeah,
sort of a hushed kind of sarcastic kind of tone. And I was like, oh wow, that's really cool because that's how they're relating as brother and sister. And so then I could come in and I could like offset that with
right,
like, I'm just a
yeah,
little like, not getting what they're talking about, not caring what they're talking about, just
right,
wanting to get through it, just being real blunt and like in your face.
yeah.
So it made it fun to play off.
Yeah, it was a great cast. I have to say, like, everybody really brought their A game to this, I think. And, even with somebody like Matt Walsh, who we're used to seeing in all these comedic roles, again, like everybody's so good in this. Um, I want to ask you because here we are almost, well, I think this year, right? It's the 30th anniversary of the first Scream movie. I can't even believe that because I remember seeing the first one in the theater. Holy crap. And I just, what a franchise. And I wanted to ask you from your perspective, what do you think it was so beloved, to have made so many sequels and people still always talk about it and you as Dewey. And I mean, my God, like, what do you think the legacy of that films are?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I feel so fortunate to be a part of it. And it has gotten this new generation that sort of has discovered it, which is really exciting. I took a picture with like 11-year-old just the other day. I was like, oh man. And then the mom was like, yeah, I loved it. I showed him the movies. And like, I
That's so
was like,
cool.
wow, this is so crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah. So, yeah, I think just working with Wes Craven and just, his knowledge and how he and Kevin Williamson kind of flipped it all on its side and had a real understanding of the fan culture before it sort of took off and became, Comic-Con and cons and cosplay and all this stuff. They
yeah,
sort of got it really early and really infused that in the fun of it and kind of turned the camera around and started looking at the audience, which is really, I think that's one of the lasting things, how it kind of understood uh the humor of the time. And it's always it has an element of like looking into the future.
for sure. Do you love going back and revisiting Dewey when you have that opportunity?
Yeah, I loved it. It was like always so fun. I mean, it was obviously so hard when we lost Wes, but
Yes.
you
Yeah.
always kind of think like and feel like he's sort of there and a part of it, and this is something he created, and to continue on like this magic that he did.
Yeah. So anything coming up next that we need to know about from you? What's going on?
I have a few things coming out. I have something called the Unholy Trinity, which I got to work with Pierce Brosnan, which is really cool. And
That's nice. Yeah, he's a
and
good guy.
Samuel L. Jackson, yeah, to work with like people you respect and have been a fan of for so many years. It's always an honor.
Yeah, for sure. Wonderful. Well, David, always a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you so much. You really did a great job in this. And it's nice to know that you're not really like Rick. We all know that. So that's all good.
Well, we can all be like Rick sometimes.
Well, okay.
Just
I get it. You're right. You're
kidding.
absolutely right. Thank you so much for your time today, David. I really appreciate it. Have a good one.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay.
You too.
Bye-bye. Thanks,
Bye.
everyone. Okay.
Thanks,
Bye.
Bonnie.
Okay. Bye-bye.